Creatures of the night, it's Tati. Let's talk about some comments from Bret Hart. I don't want to make it like a habit of me coming on here to talk about what these bitter legends are saying, because this is absolutely insane. Um, Bret Hart, the best there was, the best there is, the best there ever will be, and I still feel like that's the case. Has had some interesting comments today. He was on Ariel Helwani's little podcast. I don't know what it's called. I never really watched it. Well, no, you know what? I seen that one with CM Punk. I don't really watch him, but he was on there and he had some comments to say. And what I found interesting was that he specifically said how AEW wrestlers, so specifically, that there's nothing but actors over there pretending to be wrestlers. And I'm just like, huh, what? I found that to be very interesting to hear from Bret Hart. Now, I will say this, that I do feel like there is a lot of old school wrestlers that feel like this new way, this new school thing, when it comes to wrestling, it isn't cool, or it isn't wrestling, or whatever the situation is. However, the very same thing could be said with some of the people who are currently wrestling within WWE. Now, he goes on to say that, during the 90s, he feel like that's the best decade when it comes to wrestling, and that, he wished that it felt like the 90s today in terms of wrestling, and that one of the wrestlers that reminds him of wrestlers in the 90s, get this, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns. And look, the tribal chief, baby, I love me some tribal chief, okay? This is no shade towards the tribal chief. But his thing was to say that wrestling is full of actors, but you don't look at Roman Reigns and see an actor who, a wrestler who will be turned actor really soon. He's already done something. He's already done something in terms of filming a movie. So what the hell does that even mean? They look at what wrestlers are doing in the ring, specifically AEW, and they find something wrong with it. When they go on and say, oh, that flippy shit isn't wrestling. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that, hey, in terms of wrestling, I have styles that I prefer over others. That type of style, when the high flying, then flipping around, gymnastic, whatever, doesn't appeal to me like it appeals to other people. However, that is still wrestling. When I see people doing death matches and things like that, something that I typically don't consider to be wrestling, that is still wrestling, a subgenre of wrestling, if you will. However, listen to this, if the real bidding war of 2024 happened, where it was Will Ospreay signing on over to WWE last year, rather than him going to AEW, what would y'all be saying about all that shit right now? Y'all would have been praising him. All the WWE fans and everybody who's watching WWE would have had nothing but positive things to say about what Will Ospreay is doing in the ring. However, you guys see that he obviously turned that offer down. Had obviously negative things to say about Triple H on live TV. Y'all remember that. And all of a sudden, what he's doing is not wrestling. Very interesting. Very interesting. But we have, conveniently, Bret Hart, who is receiving his third induction into the WWE Hall of Fame in about 2 weeks for this Immortal Moment Award for his match at WrestleMania 13 with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I would say is a very good choice, especially for the very first choice for the inaugural, moment for this award. This is actually a really great choice. However, conveniently, now that you're receiving this little award, you have things to say. What is it about these old school wrestlers, this old school mentality where it's like, whatever these kids are doing nowadays is not wrestling? When time goes by, things changes, So the people who are watching wrestling in the 60s, they're seeing what somebody like Bret Hart is doing and probably thought, this ain't wrestling either. As time go by, people are looking for different things when it comes to wrestling. And I think that fans, people who are truly fans of wrestling, I'm not saying people who are fans of WWE, fans who are just fans of AEW, those, I don't even know what to call that. But when it comes to true fans of professional wrestling, we should be able to embrace different styles of wrestling, and that time has changed, and that there are new things, or things that we probably don't like, or things that might not be as popular that are within pro wrestling. Like, there is no perfect way to wrestle. Like, for me, when I see technical wrestling, I feel like, holy shit, like, let me take my panties off when I see that shit. But when I see high flyers, I'm just like, it's nothing for me. But that is still wrestling. And when you have these legends who should be encouraging today's wrestlers to go in the ring and do what it is that they do, to do what it is that makes them them. Not these wrestlers try to come into the ring to be Bret Hart, or to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, or to be The Rock, or to be God knows who else. Like, why is there just this one way to be able to wrestle? That is absolutely not true. And like I said, conveniently, with him receiving an award, here is these comments, which is very interesting. I talked about that last week with the RVD situation, who all of a sudden, who's had several matches within AEW, who is looking at hardcore wrestling to not be wrestling and to not want to be associated with AEW for shit that he used to do his damn self, which is crazy. The tribalism, and especially to see it amongst these wrestling legends, is just absolutely disappointed. Like, Bret Hart, he is one of my absolute faves, and I'm pretty sure many people can say the same thing when it comes to Bret Hart. But now it just seems like he is being flip-floppy, because now he got this little check coming in and this little award coming in about 2 weeks, and his ideology is what has just switched out of the blue, which is insane. Rather than these legends try to encourage, this new generation of wrestlers, to them, they're trashing it. And honestly, I don't even. First of all, who are the good actors in AEW that he's talking about? Because I have yet to see some great acting in AEW. If you ask me, there's a couple of them that I kind of would consider to be like, hey, not only are they great wrestlers, but they're great at acting too. But pretending to be wrestlers, and you're telling me that there is no one pretending to be a wrestler in WWE. Matter of fact, there are people who have come through those doors in WWE just to be able to bypass that and hopefully kick off the career that they really motherfucking want, which is to be Instagram models and TV stars or video vixens, whatever the hell people are doing nowadays. There are people who literally use wrestling as a stepping stone to be able to do those things. And you're telling me that you don't see that within WWE, Bret Hart? There are people within WWE who are, you can consider to be actors. That company doesn't even consider themselves to be a wrestling company. But now there's wrestling over there, but actors, people pretending to be wrestlers in AEW. This is absolutely insane. That same style of wrestling that you're seeing within AEW, you're also seeing that in other promotions as well. Like, AEW is not doing anything differently from what WWE is doing, TNA is doing, New Japan, GCW. Like, everybody has adopted the new way, and even some old school ways within what we see with professional wrestling today. And like I said, that little check don't came in and you cashed it in and cleared, get your little award, and now all of a sudden, AEW this. Wasn't you the one who introduced the AEW world title on AEW at Double or Nothing? It was you. So when they called you, they wrote out that check, and that check cleared, you were there. And on a yearly basis, they honor your brother, Owen Hart, for what he's done in professional wrestling with the Owen Hart Cup. But now, this company is just full of nothing but actors. People pretending to be wrestlers, which is absolutely insane. I totally don't understand the tribalism. And when you think that these old heads should be the ones to be putting their foot down and be the voices of reason within professional wrestling, they're the ones who are enticing this tribalism. And honestly, I'm not with it. Like, why can't people motherfucking watch wrestling and enjoy professional wrestling without having to be some kind of soldier for one company or not? Bret Hart, I can't even believe how it has even come to this point. Like, y'all literally saying and doing anything for a little check, and honestly, I'm very disappointed. Thank you for watching my video. I'll be back with my regular schedule stuff. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know how to do things up in here.